Pastor Bruce Johnson. You know me again, and you know that I love the history of our community and the Preston area. History is a great thing. But I want to speak in regards to our community day of North Preston and the community that exists. It's very important that we do have, I'm glad we do have a community day where we're North Preston Day, where we can reflect on our history as to how far we came from, or where we come from, and where we are now. I would like to start at the point of saying, before the European came to, before the European came to America, North America, the indigenous people had already been here and had well established themselves as the first, as a nation, not just our nation, but many nations. And the nation and their nation and the culture that they had here was different than that what the European had. They had never seen this before. And I guess that's why the indigenous people of our country call themselves the First Nation, because they were here. This so too bad that ignorance led to people to destroy what was there first, because they were the first people that are here. And where the Europeans were late coming, and all the other people who are here in North America, they are all second comers. They're comers late, including our own people that got here. We came here, some of us came here by force, not because we came to invade or anything like that, but we were brought here. When you look at things that happened before 1492, that's when they talk about Christopher Columbus coming from Europe to America when it was already discovered. But anyway, when they came here, they seen what was here and seen it was a good land and everything like that. And too bad they didn't respect the people that are already living here. That's the sad thing about it, because we lost a lot from what we could have learned from the people that were here first. But that is now gone, so we can do nothing about that. But we are the black people in the Preston, particularly in North Preston. We were brought here in the 1700s. We came to Canada by all various means, not because of our own will, but other people brought us in. And Halifax was discovered in 1749, and during that time, when you start thinking about it and looking at the land that was cleared and everything like that, black slavery was used as a labor force. And even though our history does not record or have any documents written that we are known, that maybe some of them are hidden from us that we don't know, written documents, but we know from our oral history, and thank God for oral history, and that's why I always emphasize to the people to have respect for the oral history here in our Preston area. Be thankful to God that these elderlies that are now gone, but they passed down what they knew that was passed down to them about the fact of they were here long before any written documents, and they weren't allowed to write because they couldn't read or write themselves. But when I listened to stories from some of my elders when they passed, before they passed, and they were telling stories how that they used to work in the area, like for instance around the Halifax Docklands area. Halifax was a market garden area, and where you had places like Cole Harbor and Lawrencetown, areas where they farmed at. Yeah. And our elders tell us how they used to work all those areas and down in places like Cole Harbor. And when they were talking about getting paid 10 cents a day or 50 cents a week for removing stumps, tree stumps, and these were not small trees, moving them out of the land, off the land so that the farmers could put in a crop. And that was hard work. But these are some of the experience that our ancestors went through, although it's not written, but it's been told. And that's why it's important to respect the ancestors' stories that were passed down to them. They could not write it, but they could tell it. And we take it as it was told to us. And our people experience, well, we want to thank God for giving them the strength to endure. They didn't come through no easy time with hard suffering, struggling to find food, struggling to trying to get through, and walking, most of the time walking 7 miles, 9 miles in order to get to places to produce food. And when we look at celebrating North Preston Day, we got a lot to celebrate. Thanking God for the fact that He kept us. Thanking God that He gave us parents, that grandparents and ancestors that endured a lot of suffering for us to be here. And right now, thanking God for what they passed on to us, that some of us can reflect, so that we can pass on, or some of these stories that the young people that are left under us will take pride in who we are and where we come from. We came a long way. For we've been here since the 1700s. When you look at, I think maybe our community, I thought I read a document in a book some time ago, and I went back looking for the book, couldn't find it, but it's something that indicated that the community of Preston, when that was the town, the communities of Preston, it was settled, people were settled in the Preston area, in the black community, around 1758 or something like that. There may be some people who may have documents. We haven't seen the written documents that would verify that or to disprove it, but we know that the older people were talking and pointed out to us of how they also had begun to erect things into the community in the best that they knew how, and they took pride in what they had. When our people, maybe for some intent, when our people came and whatever they did to contribute to the community were never acknowledged or written, but for some reason or another, maybe the mass community or the dominant people may have hidden certain things to avoid hurting people's feelings or embarrassing or a sense of shame of what was done. But we can't undo what happened in the past. We can't undo it. But the thing about it is that this generation of people that are left behind in our community, in the black and white community, that you may not can undo what happened in the past, but you can do something now to correct the mistakes of the past. That, if you listened to the program last week when the Prime Minister came down to Nova Scotia and he gave his speech and the signing of apology for the reaction of the act that was done against the Black Battalion back in the World War I, when he pointed out the fact that we cannot change the past, but we can make correction of the mistakes that were done in the past. Well, I would urge the government, all different levels of government, the municipal, the provincial, the federal government, to continue to follow that example of what the Prime Minister said. Make correction now for the mistake that was made in the past. Right now, this community that we take pride of, when you look at around the community, and we've been looking at this, almost every black community that was in the Halifax Documents area, as you look at it, what has happened? Atherville is gone. Cubbica Road is not gone, but it's gone in a sense because it's been all surrounded, and the community that used to exist don't exist like it used to be anymore. Lucasville, Hammond's Plain, Cherrybrook. You look at all those little communities, and the community that used to be up on a black community in Dartmouth, Crichton Avenue, where the Micmac Mall now stands. Those communities are all out, gone. The only communities that seem to be left, and whatever happened with the black people that were in Lawrencetown, well, I guess that is non-existence now. You might find some kind of roots of when you dig into the archive. We know that our people from the township of Preston were all over the place. Some of them were there, and I got some documents at home I had pointed out some time ago about having some documents that indicate that our people, black people, were in those areas. They were the cheap force of labor. But when you look at what's going on in our community now, the only black community that left the largest and left the area, the Preston area. Right now, people are looking at like our community, the land around the Preston area. Some time ago, in the 1950, around 1958 and 1962, when the Africville issue came up to place, it was a plan to take what we call the New Road Settlement, which is North Preston. And I guess the outcry of what happened in Africville made the people to back off, but the aim was to take the land from our people here. Now, you gave us land. Our people were loyal to the government, the British government at that time. When they wanted to have some kind of support for protecting the colony, northern colony, which was Canada, and that is Canada now, and they offered the privilege to the black slaves in the United States if they were to come on side to help them to defend their fight for their right and defend the land, that they would give us land and freedom. Well, our people did do that. Some of them did do that and come alongside the fight on the British side, and they were called a United Empire Loyalists. Some of us are United Empire Loyalists. Our ancestors were. And we are descendants from some of them, and some of them they just were slaves who just escaped and helped to fight to get our community. When you go back to 1700s, the American Revolution it hadn't even begun when some of our people were already here, because my great-great-grandfather, the father of the community, he was here and had land given to him. And when you begin to look at what was happening, then when you look at the land that was cleared in some of the areas around Halifax, Dartmouth, when they didn't tell you the truth about all that was happening, the story passed down to us from some of our ancestors about the fact that how they worked the land in order to survive and to walk day after day at 4 o'clock in the morning in the dark to do this type of work, to help build the community. This is what they did. And maybe it is not appreciated, and I pointed out some people might hide this from the public ears because of feeling that some people may be insulted or feel shame about what happened, but you weren't there. Our people, ancestors were there, and the story was passed to us, so we can say this. We take pride in saying that we thank God for how they endured so much to allow us to be here and suffered for it. But we look at our community right now, the land in North Preston and the East Preston, everybody got their eyes on the land. And we're being, the danger that we have, the threat that we have now is from other people from the outside encroaching upon land that was given to us, even though the people do not want to honor the document. We as loyalists, our ancestors were loyal to the queen to the crown at the time, whether it be a king or a queen. They were loyal to them. They came, they helped the fight. They fought in the War of 1812. They fought to help to defend this country, and they held up to their part of the problem of the plan that was given. But now, honor our plan, honor the land grants that was given to us. Don't take away what was given to us. We know that part of ours was marched back, our ancestors was marched back here in the barren land and wasn't expected to live because they were brought from a warm climate to a severe cold climate, and they wasn't expecting us to live. Well, by the grace of God, we have survived. Amen. And what we have done from the time that we're here, we remember the community when we had the little shacks and how bad they were, that people still survive. So look at how we continue to trust in God, and look where we come from, and we have a good community. Even though negative stuff gets printed about us, and media may emphasize more on the negative and don't emphasize nothing on the good that come out of North Preston. There's a lot of good. And if you look around Halifax, Dartmouth, no matter where you are, I don't care, you may be living in the richest community. According to my understanding of the scripture in Romans chapter 3, it says, verse 23, I think it says, all have sinned and come short of the glory of God. Yes. There's no perfect community. No community is perfect. You can brag about it, but you don't have perfect. You got a lot of things that your young people may be doing that that won't tell you, and some of the elders are doing bad things in your community. But our community is no different. Our interest is the same. We want good. And if you do the correction of what was done wrong in the past and correct, the generation that here now do not have to do the same thing with white racial discrimination, all that type of stuff need to be eradicated, just thrown out and start living as people, and we can live together in harmony. If we followed some of the thing that Martin Luther King was saying, white boys and black girls and boys walking together, joining hand in hand, well, we can do this here in Canada. If we follow the teaching that was given by people like Martin Luther King and follow the instruction that was given by our own Prime Minister, let us make our country a great country by doing what is right. We have a right. Acknowledge what was done. Yes. Acknowledge the fact that we are a people, a black people who worked hard to make our country the way it is. The country could not be what it is without the contribution given by all the different people that are here in the land. And we want to thank God for it. Most of all, we should be thanking God for giving the indigenous people who were here before that could have continued to fight and fight and fight, that none of us would be here. But we are the people of North Preston. We're proud. Amen. But right now, we are fighting to maintain what we had. What was given to us, according to what I look at on the document from Queen Victoria and given in 1842, and at the beginning of that document, she said, to the people of Preston in the township of Preston. When you refer to that reference to the people of Preston, it's referring to the black people. And it said, who were not given legal title to their land. And who wasn't given the legal title? It was us. Yeah. So you look at the people of Preston, there are many, and the majority of the people who did not receive legal title to the land was basically, when you look at it, North Preston had the largest majority of people who never got a legal title or legal document for their land. And what we're saying that we're proud that we have we're here now, and we want to maintain this community. Our young people are struggling and not having places where they can build at, forcing to leave the community. And we are on the verge. Other people are doing development, trying to draw our people out of the community. And we need to have people to help us to maintain what we have and to keep our own, to help us to develop economically so that our community can continue to exist as it is, and even greater, where we can provide jobs. And when you're talking about our young people and the thing that may be happening to cause destruction, well, if our young people were given the jobs and so forth, or training where we can have jobs and be helped to develop our community, we would appreciate that very much. And I hope that somebody is listening. We know that there's all the young people are not all got the same goals or anything like that, but every one of us have a desire to be successful in life somewhere, and we would like to see that happen in our community of North Preston and in the entire Preston area. We're fighting to maintain our community. We do not want to become like the other communities has been already encroached upon, and people are fighting, trying to hold on to the land or fighting to get it back. We have our land that was given to us, and people just don't want to acknowledge the fact that the government or the crown gave us land, and where we were put back here and hoping that we would just go away. Well, we're not going away. We just want you to give us the hand. I said something before about Winston Churchill. Give us the tools, and we'll do the job. We don't have all the expertise to do all that we can, but if the resources was given to us, we could make our community even greater than it is, and can also help to build the community of Halifax and Dartmouth and the province of Nova Scotia and Canada great for all people, not just us, but for all people. And this is what our aim is: find and establish our community as a strong center where our black people can take pride into who we are and where we come from and where we are going. That's it.